Hi, I'm Serena from Serena's Kitchen. Welcome again. So today I'm going to make some flavorful, fall off the bone, delicious ribs and homemade cornbread. And maybe have a salad on the side. So guess what? If you do not know what to cook for dinner, come into my kitchen. I'll give you some hints and ideas. Welcome back, folks. So let me get started and show you how I like to prepare my baby back ribs. Now let's get starting with the star of the show, the ribs. Beautiful baby back ribs. This is just perfect amount for me and my family. Now I like to use my regular go-to seasonings. I have my garlic powder, onion powder, and smoked paprika for that delicious smoky flavor. Honey, light brown packed sugar, parsley flakes, kosher salt, and a little extra virgin olive oil. We don't always like to have barbecue sauce, so I enjoy making the rub. And believe me, it's very flavorful. All right, you know what? I'm gonna unpack these baby backs and get started. All right, I wanna start off by showing you that I like to season my ribs already in the pan. Because to me, if any of the seasonings kind of drift off a little off the meat, it still will soak up inside the meat while cooking. That's just a little thing that I like to do. All right, so let's get started. I also want to show you how I line my pan. Let me explain to you why. Parchment paper first in your roasting pan, and then the foil. The reason for the parchment paper is because when these ribs cook, they can become a little sticky mess because of the brown sugar and the honey. Guess what? Easy cleanup. Telling you, it works all the time. And the reason for the foil is because we're gonna make like a tent to cook the ribs slow. All right, let's get started. So I'm starting on the back side of the ribs, of the baby back ribs. Spray a little EVOO, extra virgin olive oil. And then I'm gonna do my seasonings. Now usually I'm just, I eyeball and just shake away, but I'm gonna show you today. I use about a tablespoon of each. So we have garlic powder. Okay. And I put this on the side. We have about a tablespoon of onion powder. Okay. And then we have the parsley flakes. Now, I'm not going to use the paprika first. First, I'm going to use the packed light brown sugar. Now, in this bowl, I have about 2/3 of a cup of brown sugar. So you can use between 1/2 and 2/3, depending on how much you really want on your ribs. I'm telling you, you want as much as possible because it just makes it so flavorful. So we take the brown sugar and just rub it in. Again, we use our fingers to really get in. I'm gonna tell you, your hands and your fingers are the best kitchen tools around. Never be afraid to touch your meat. Okay, so we got the brown sugar rubbed in. Then we want the smoked paprika for that beautiful smoky taste. So put this on like this. And rub that in. And last but not least, the kosher salt. Sprinkle a little. And I have about a teaspoon here, to 1/2 teaspoon, because you don't want to make it too salty. You don't want the salt to overpower the brown sugar. And rub that in. Okay. Voila. Now we're going to turn the ribs over to the other side. And now the EVOO, spray it. Beautiful. I'm sorry, I forgot to spray the bottom of the foil pan with just a little bit of EVOO. Just a little, there we go, perfect. And then we start the process all over again. Garlic powder, again about a tablespoon. Like I said, I usually don't measure, I just sprinkle, eyeball it, but today I want to show you this way. And then the onion powder, parsley flakes. Oh yeah, baby, these are gonna be so good. Brown sugar. I like to get, the brown sugar is the main ingredient in this rub. So you really want to get enough in there. Don't worry, when it starts to cook, it's going to cook down into the meat. So it's not going to be so heavy on top, but it's really a good rub. Like I said, I've been doing this forever. And then we have the kosher salt. There we go. Nice. Pack it in. The smoked paprika. Alrighty. Okay, let's rub that smoked paprika in there. Now, I know you see honey, but guess what? We're not using the honey yet. We're gonna put the honey on after it's basically done and let it sit in the oven, and the honey will just lay on top nicely without burning. All right, folks, that's all there is to this rub. Now we're going to, let me push this aside. You're gonna wrap this up in a tent like this. If you don't have enough foil, you get more foil. So it's covered completely. I have the oven preheated at 325 because it's gonna cook slow. And each oven is different, so it may take approximately 2 to 2.5 hours. But of course you would double check to see how tender they are. Okay, I'm going to pop them in and I'll be right back to make the homemade cornbread. Oh yeah. Okay folks, time for some homemade cornbread. This is a recipe that I've been using for myself and my family for such a long time. Let's start off with the big bowl. We have here, ladies and gentlemen, 1 cup and 1/4 of yellow cornmeal. Next to it, we have 1 cup of all-purpose flour. And then I have 4 tablespoons of unsalted butter, 1 egg at room temp. We have 1 tablespoon of baking powder. I'm going to use a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, a 1/2 cup of sugar, about 2 tablespoons of cream style corn for that extra cornbread flavor and moistness, and a cup of whole milk that was also sitting at room temperature. And we're going to bake it in a 8 by 8 by 2 or 2.5 to 3 inch baking pan. Let's get started. This is such an easy recipe. We're going to start off, let's move this aside. We're going to beat together the milk first, the milk, and the 4 tablespoons of unsalted melted butter, and 1 egg. And you're gonna mix that first before we just lay the other ingredients in the bowl. Guys, remember this? Oh my gosh, my grandmother used to use one of these growing up, and you know what? I still have it. So let's beat up the egg, milk, and butter. Doesn't that just look so pretty and bubbly? It's gonna be so good, so easy. All right, after you mix it up fairly well, that's nice, see? Beautiful color. It's an all dump it. Let's start off by putting in the flour and the cornmeal, the sugar, the baking powder, the salt. Okay, I like to mix this up first. Okay, let's mix this up nice. And you don't, as anything else you bake from scratch, you do not want to over mix your batter because you do not want a tough cornbread. Okay, and now, see, simple that, fold it in. So simple. Now I'm going to add the 2 tablespoons of cream style corn. Now, you know, you have to open up a can of cream style corn to do this, but you can always put the leftover corn in a seal type container, and you can make more cornbread later on, or you can make corn fritters with it. There's a lot of things you could do with cream style corn, so it's not going to go to waste. So don't get upset that you're opening up a can of cream style corn. It's like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do with the rest of this corn? I save mine for the next time. Stick it in the fridge. All right, there you go. That's it. It's gonna be a little lumpy, but you know what? That's the way it's supposed to be. Now let's get this 8x8x2 baking pan and pour the batter in. Oh, by the way, shortening in the batter. Let me move this out the way. Shortening in the batter. Shortening in the baking pan, and because you have to grease the baking pan, or cooking spray. Either one works fine. All right, so let's pour this in. I'm getting so excited that I was mixing up my words, but you know what? That's okay, because I just love cornbread. By the way, this is going to be cooked in an oven of 375 degrees that's been preheated for about 20 to 25 minutes. Okay, let's see. Let's push this aside. Give it a little shake. Give it a little shake. Give it a little shake. Get the air bubbles out. You know, I don't want to bang on my counter, so I think I'm going to pull this over here on the side. There we go. Doesn't that just look yum, yum, yum? Okay, I'm going to pop it in the oven again, 375 for about 20 to 25 minutes. I'll be right back. All right, I just put the cornbread in, but you know what? These ribs have been in for a while now, for almost about 2 hours, and I had to time the cornbread just perfectly. So let's check the ribs, because I think it's time to apply the honey. Okay, let's take a look. Let's take a look. Oh, wait a minute. I love my little mismatch gloves here. All right, let's take a look. Let's take a look. Let's put this down. Okay, actually, I know it's hot, but I'm used to touching foil. There we go. Oh, that looks so good, ladies and gentlemen. Yum, yum, yum. Now I'm going to apply the honey. Spread some honey on here like this. These ribs look so good. I cannot wait to dig in. Oh my gosh. All right, I think that is really sufficient. Now we're gonna cover the tent back up. All right, let's push this back in. So by the time the cornbread is done, the ribs will be done too, and we'll be right back. Still waiting. Oh, I wanna eat. Hi guys, welcome back. All right, so I took the ribs out of the oven. They all cooked. The cornbread is seconds away. And I let this cool down a little bit. Look at that, straight through. It's going to, look at that beautifulness. Right through the bones there. It's gonna be so flavorful. And look, remember the parchment paper idea? Voila. I mean, really, you don't want the brown sugar sticking to the pan. Easy cleanup. Okay, so I will be right back. Gonna get the cornbread out, put everything together, and do what I do best. Okay, the cornbread is out of the oven. It's beautiful, it's delicious, it's cooked. I am smearing some butter on top of it while it's hot. And you know what else I'm gonna put on top of it while it's hot? I'm gonna put on top of this some delicious honey. Okay, now we put a little bit more honey on the hot cornbread, and we do not have to put it back in the oven because it's already sinking in. All right, let's put our meal together and chow down. I'm back, and I'm holding this beautiful plate. Succulent ribs, moist, delicious cornbread. Hey, I have to keep it real. I have a side salad. All right, let's get ready to do what I love to do. Now, there's no easy way to eat ribs, but to use the best tools in the kitchen. Your fingers. Okay, get out of here, salad. I want this ribs first. Tender, juicy, perfect amount of rib rub. Look at me, I'm so excited I can barely talk. One more bite. Falling off the bone good. Oh my God. So delicious. Melts in your mouth. Melts in your mouth. I can pull it apart with no knife. That's what I mean by falling off the bone goodness. Oh, let's try my cornbread. You know, I have this fork here. What the heck? I'll use it just to pull off a piece of the cornbread. Get out of here, napkin. And you know something? Moist, nice cornbread taste, and not too sweet. I'm gonna finish this meal as soon as I say bye-bye. But thank you for joining me. If you like ribs, I encourage you to try this great rib recipe. And subscribe to me. Hey, give me a comment. I'd love to hear from you. And the old thumbs up. In the meantime, enjoy your meal, enjoy life. Until the next time. Ciao.